Everyone's piled in on the lip-reading question of yesterday, because it is actually the closest we come, in the context of modern British politics, to a little bit of light-hearted relief. And I don't by that mean to undermine the employment of the word woman as a pejorative, but I do want to examine that principle in a moment. I simply mean that in the great scheme of things that matter, whether or not Jeremy Corbyn called Theresa May a stupid woman yesterday, probably shouldn't be in the top million. Donald Trump's just pulled American troops, or announced the imminent withdrawal of American troops from Syria, on the, just to be charitable, slightly spurious grounds that ISIS have apparently been defeated. This will be greeted with party poppers and celebrations in the Kremlin and in Iran. It will also be greeted with joy in Turkey. It will be greeted with absolute horror by the Kurdish fighters who have been bravely taking the fight to the fundamentalist, moronic murderers of ISIS for the best part of half a decade. They have just been hung out to dry by the so-called leader of the free world. But let's employ a lip reader to look at what Jeremy Corbyn might or might not have said yesterday about the Prime Minister. The planning for no-deal Brexit continues to paint a picture of almost undiluted bleakness, and these are our own plans. It was 6 months ago that the European Union began to reveal their planning for a no-deal scenario, but Andrea Leadsom, elsewhere on British radio this morning, claimed that they've only just started doing it. Her claim, which is both untrue and profoundly misleading, went, as ever, unchallenged. But let's get a lip reader in to work out whether or not Jeremy Corbyn said stupid woman or stupid people yesterday. A man with a job died sleeping on the streets this week. With a job. Employed as a kitchen porter. And on what streets did he sleep? The streets in the immediate environs of the British Parliament, where it is, of course, of paramount importance that we employ a lip reader to work out whether or not Jeremy Corbyn said stupid woman or stupid people yesterday. Speaking of the homeless, about 600 of them died in England and Wales last year, an increase of about 24% over the last 5 years. This according to the Office of National Statistics, an observation that compels me to observe that if that is the counted number, it's highly likely, given the way in which these poor souls can fall through the cracks of polite society, it's highly likely that there would be quite a few more uncounted. I think I'll just refer you back to the point I made before this one, in case you missed that crucial phrase. A man, a homeless man, with a job. But let's get a lip reader in to work out whether or not Jeremy Corbyn said stupid woman or stupid people. And I'm going to talk about Jeremy Corbyn today, and I'm going to talk about that incident in Parliament for two reasons. Number one, I find it diverting and I find it interesting. And number two, some mornings the mountains that you should be climbing are so high and so steep and so scary that you can't resist the temptations of footling around in the foothills. I'm allowed to, because we do 15 hours a week together, 14 if you discount Mystery Hour, which will of course be with us from 12 noon today. I do the heavy lifting, I do the serious stuff. You, if you listen to this programme on a regular basis, will not be remotely surprised by no-deal planning. You will not be remotely surprised to learn about motorways being turned into car parks and ports being turned into log jams. You have been told about this from both sides of the Irish Sea and both sides of the English Channel for the best part of 2 years. You could, of course, have chosen not to believe me, in which case I understand why you're feeling silly now and determined to take it out on people like me who've told you this would happen, and now that it's happened, it's all our fault that it's happening and not the fault of the people who told you it wouldn't happen while we told you that it would. But let's get a lip reader in to work out what Jeremy Corbyn did or didn't say in the House of Commons yesterday. What is it exactly, do you think, that informs this curious abnegation of duty that's swept the country at the moment? Did you see Anna Soubry getting abused by a fat racist on film yesterday? Abused in a way that is just so profoundly un-British. Make no mistake, these are Farage's people. This is what he's unleashed. This is categorically and completely the sort of nonsense that his ilk refer to when they bleat pathetically about picking up a rifle or unleashing the sort of violence that we haven't seen since the 1930s, which that schoolboy who was found to have broken rules while working for one of the Leave organisations. It's despicable what we're becoming. Everywhere. Do you see Dele Alli had a bottle thrown at him at the Spurs game last night by an Arsenal fan? You've seen the Chelsea fans with the Nazi posters and the racist abuse of Raheem Sterling. All of this has been unleashed by Brexit. All of it. But let's get a lip reader in to work out whether or not Jeremy Corbyn said stupid woman or stupid people yesterday in the House of Commons. Don't look over there. That's reality. Look over here. There's a pantomime. Oh, no, there isn't. Oh, yes, there blinking is. But let's get a lip reader in to work out whether or not Jeremy Corbyn said stupid woman or stupid people yesterday. I guess this is by way of an apology for talking about it. Because there are more important things to worry about. But everything has become a football game now. Will there still be people who think Donald Trump is anything other than a lying criminal listening to this programme? I mean, how much more evidence do you need? He's been found unfit to run a charity in his own name because him and his family were filling their own pockets with money that was allegedly raised for charitable causes. Do you know what the biggest payout made by the Trump Foundation was? It was for the restoration of a fountain outside one of Donald Trump's buildings. But let's get a lip reader in to work out whether or not Jeremy Corbyn said stupid woman or stupid people. He has just given ISIS the mother of all Christmas presents. It's highly likely Donald Trump doesn't even realise that ISIS are unlikely to celebrate Christmas for a whole heap of religious reasons. But Donald Trump has just given them a astonishing Christmas present. But let's get a lip reader in to work out whether or not Jeremy Corbyn said stupid people or stupid woman.